Let's find out if you're ready for love. Here's your marvelous host, Nikki Lee.
Hello, and welcome to Ready for Love Radio. This is your host and love coach, Nikki Lee. Hey, before I get started, I'm just going to say this is prime sinus season, and I am coughing and sneezing occasionally, and I waited till the last minute to do the show, hoping that it would clear up, and it hasn't. So I'm going to apologize ahead of time for my voice. Which actually kind of makes the topic of the show even more apropos than normal. But I'm thinking, it's spring. We're getting closer to summer. The weather's finally warming up here. It's been really funky. We actually had a frost warning the other night, and in Virginia. I mean, come on, it's May, but it's getting warmer. It's actually still 60-some degrees, and it's about midnight right now when I'm working on this. And so, it's the time when you can go outside and it's gorgeous, and people are planting gardens, the flowers are blooming. So it's a good time to be thinking about getting out and enjoying the weather and fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, being healthy, and so I thought, why don't we talk about, healthy routines, healthy lifestyles, that kind of thing. We're to the time of year, we just had the local high school graduation last weekend. Congratulations to my neighbor. He just graduated and just brought his diploma over to show me. I've got a good friend graduating in a couple weeks. So, it's a good time to start looking at things and trying to see what you can do to just kind of maybe rejuvenate in some ways, to make some interesting changes in other ways, and maybe look at what you're doing and how can you do things in a different way. Sometimes we can get in kind of a, what do you want to say? Sometimes you get in kind of a rut in the wintertime, and it's cold. It's usually a little bit more gloomy in the wintertime. We may stay in more because it's not as nice outside, and it's spring is more of a, to people that enjoy being outside and being closer to nature, it's a rebirth in a lot of ways. And summer more so, it's the time when you're out and it's time to hopefully get to go swimming. We'll see how that goes with various restrictions in the different areas, and getting out and just doing the different things. So it's a good time to see what we can do for ourselves. So what I was doing, I was looking through some of my notes and my different things I collect. Y'all know how I like to collect things, especially on Pinterest, because people just share the coolest stuff on there. So I've got one on healthy lifestyles, but I was not happy because I was looking at it, and it's supposed to be 72 tips, and I'm like, oh man, that'll be great for the show. But there's 27 on the front, and then it says, click for the rest of them. Well, the problem is the person posted it to their website, but they changed their website, so the link's not good anymore. So I've only got the first 27. I don't have the other 45. So, but I also found another one, was morning routine ideas. And, even for people like me who don't like mornings, because I'm usually up doing stuff later at night, and I mean, even if not, I just not a morning person. But, getting our day off on the right start just makes a difference. It just really, really does. So whether you're a morning person or not, there's just something about getting the morning off on the right foot. You know how people will joke sometimes and say, you must have woke up on the wrong side of the bed, or that kind of thing. It just, even, well, and I've even kind of joked, not necessarily joked, but kind of said, even if I woke up with a migraine, I've been glad that I woke up, because it's still an opportunity to make the most of the day, and that actually became even more of a blessing after a couple of medical emergencies when I ended up being put in a coma for 4 or 5 days, and then I when I was finally brought out of the coma and I realized I had just lost a certain number of days, I'm even more thankful now every morning when I wake up. So even if I'm feeling bad or in a lot of pain or whatever, it's a blessing to wake up each morning. So do you make the most of each morning? And is there a way to do that? Something I found, and I especially do this when I have to be up extra early for something, but it makes the morning go smoother if you prepare the night before for things you have to do the next day. Being that I work from home, I'm basically at work when I wake up the next day. So something I like to do is I have a small notebook, and things that I know I need to work on the next day or I want to work on the next day, I go ahead and the night before, normally they're on my mind that before I go to sleep. So what I do is I go ahead and I jot down the things that I really want to focus on the next day, and then I don't need to remember them overnight. So that's one less thing that I need to worry about or I need to remember or that kind of thing, and it helps me to rest easier. And then it's like I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to think about it because I know I can just look at my notebook and there they are. But like I said, if I have to be up early the next day, then because if I know I have to be up early, I'm not going to sleep as well. And anything that I can do to get things ready, have things set out, have things prepared, anything I can do along those lines is going to help me to be able to sleep a little bit better anyway, and to get better rest. So preparing the night before always helps me. So now this list says wake up early. That works for some people. Now you will probably know if that works good for you. Sometimes I just automatically wake up early. Not real often, but sometimes I do. And if I wake up earlier than normal, I'll kind of be like, well, and I might go ahead and like check the phone and check messages and maybe see what the latest headlines are in the news or check email or something like that, and then just kind of go, well, don't want to go ahead and get up, and it's like, yeah, okay, and just kind of see how I'm feeling and that kind of deal, or kind of based on how late I was working the night before and make a decision. But each of us knows how early getting up is going to work for us, so we can go from there. Now, I know some people like to read the headlines. I know back in the day, before the internet, the big thing was to actually get the newspaper and read the newspaper over a cup of coffee in the morning. There are various digital ways to do that now. And some people prefer to actually read a book of some kind. I can get into that. Problem is, if I start reading a book, I'm probably going to be lost in it for a while. So that's not necessarily a good idea for me, unless it's part of a project I'm working on. Now, I know quite a few people who part of their morning routine is to do yoga, whether they do it at home or in a class, or they may work out, or they may meditate. And the people that I know that do it, they absolutely swear by it. They would not start their day without it. So that could be something that, if it's something that you wanted to try or to get into, you might want to talk to somebody that either does a class or who recommends it, and just kind of see if it's something that does work for you. And now, people have said my entire life that the most important meal of the day is breakfast. Now, it doesn't have to be a huge breakfast. Doesn't have to be, crazy, lots and lots of stuff. But to have some kind of breakfast to get the metabolism going, and because, no matter what time you had dinner, it's been a while since you've had any food in your body. And most people are going to get hungry sometime before lunch. So having some kind of a breakfast, and especially something healthy for breakfast, is a really, really good idea before you get off to work or off to school or off to wherever you're going. Because if not, you're probably going to pick up some kind of junk food of some kind, or soft drinks or energy drinks or something else that's really, really not good for your body, especially on an empty stomach. Now, making yourself, look good if you're going to work or going to wherever you need to be. And even if you work from home, you don't necessarily need to, get out your best outfit and do the full deal with your makeup and your hair and all this kind of stuff. But even if you're working from home, and I know more and more people are doing that now, you want to make sure that you, how do I want to say this? Even if you're working from home, it's good to get up, make your bed, and get dressed, comb your hair, get yourself in the mentality that you are going to work. It helps. At first it's kind of fun. On days when you're not feeling good, it's fun that you can go to work in your pajamas or in your fuzzy flippers and that kind of thing. And there are days that I feel horrible, and it's just good to stay snuggled up, and I do that, and I have my laptop, and you wouldn't want to see how horrible I look. But, normally on a work day, I am completely dressed, and and I could come to the door and not scare people, but it helps to get in a work mindset to be dressed, to have it. If you're a person that normally does wear makeup, and normally does whatever to your hair, that kind of thing, it's good to go ahead and do that. Like I said, you don't have to worry. I mean, I don't ever wear shoes when I'm working, but I didn't do that when I worked out, in an office most of the time. But that's another story. But it's find what works for you, but don't get so laid back that it makes it hard for you to focus on the work. Does that make sense? Because I've seen people that do get so laid back with what they're doing that they can't get focused, and they get distracted way, way, way too easy. And if they just made some changes in how they're doing things and treated it more like a job and acted more like they were at work, it could make a big difference for them. Now, sometimes too, and this is something too that when you actually go to work, okay, when you leave the house and go to work, you have normally a morning ritual that you do before you leave the house. Now, when people work from home, do you still kind of have a morning ritual? Do you have certain things that you go through, like from the time you get up until you start to work? Not go to work, start working. Because I know I've pretty much, I'm just thinking back. Except for the first few days I got back after getting home from the hospital, I mean, I normally, within a little while of waking up, I start working. So yeah, it's the same basic sort of morning that I would have had if I had been going to work. So think about it. Do you have a morning ritual? And if not, would having kind of a ritual that you do in the morning, on a work day, and then of course on a day off, what you do in the morning would be different. We like to hope anyway, right? So, let me see. Okay, now planning out your day. It's amazing if you don't kind of think about what you need to do throughout the day and kind of make a plan. Some of us need to make more firm plans than others, because I know some folks will say, well, I need to do this and this and this today, but then they don't make a firm plan about when they're going to do it or how they're going to get it done, and the whole weekend will go by and it just doesn't get done. So planning out your day can make a whole lot of difference in whether those things get done or not. So you might want to think about it and see if that needs to be a little bit more structured and how that could be improved. Now there's times, like I said, there's times when you need a day to just kind of take it easy and have some time to just relax. But then there's other days when things just really need to get done. So that's two different mentalities and two different ways that you spend the day. Now, a big way to improve how much gets done in a day is not to hit the snooze on the alarm. You know, now I'll tell you how bad I am about the morning, and this is true confession here, folks. True confession. My alarm clock and my clock on the nightstand actually is set a half an hour ahead of the actual time. So if someone looks at the alarm, my clock on my nightstand, it right now is 30 minutes fast. And it's been that way for years and years and years and years. And when I was much younger, it started like 5 minutes ahead, and then I got used to that. So then I had to set it up to 10 minutes ahead. But I did finally stop at 30 minutes. So so at 30 minutes, I was good. I was good at that point. So the reason was that I would kind of start to oversleep, and then I'd kind of wake up a little bit, and I'd glance at the clock and go, and I'd think I was late. And so I'd jump out of bed. And then by the time I realized that the clock was fast, I was already up. So, but 30 minutes, I'm good. so, but yeah, not hitting the snooze alarm will help you. So, but yeah, it's hilarious when people look at my clock and they're like, "Wow, it's getting late." I'm like, no. But okay, now something else that's really, really good to do, and this helps later in the day, is if you tidy up your space. And this goes along with like making up your bed in the morning. So this did not bother me as a kid, but it drives me nuts as an adult, because I can't stand coming back in and like the room just being a disaster. And trust me, this did not bother me as a kid at all. But there are certain things that are out of place that I leave that way, but things like the bed being unmade and that kind of thing, that just, I don't know. But yeah, tidying up your space is a thing that it only takes a few minutes. And the thing is, then later on in the day when you come back into the room, it's just nice that it's neat. You know, it's not like after work or after running errands. You know, because after you run errands, especially if you go to a store, and I am so not a shopping person. I hate shopping. You know, you go shopping, and then you come home, and you have to bring everything in out of the car, and then you have to put it all away, and, of course, you have to pay for it, you know, and then you have to put it all away, and then you come in, and if you didn't, like, straighten things up before you left, then you have to straighten everything up again, too. So it's just nice to come home and things are neat. Now, see, I live on my own, so I know that however I left it when I went out, it's the same way when I come home. So that's one perk that I do have. Now, something else, and this is something that most days when the sun is shining, we can kind of count on this, is opening the windows and letting the sunshine in. And this is just, you know, it's kind of a tease in the wintertime when it's cold and you open the windows and the sun is shining, but it's just cold. You know, it's like you're turning the heat up because you want it to warm up, and it's like it's just a tease when the sun is shining, but you're still chilly, you know? And it's just like, it's just not fair. It should be warm. But this is the time of year when the sun shines through the windows and you can open the blinds and open the windows and the warm air comes in and you feel that warm breeze. It's wonderful. So this is a nice time of year to have the windows open. And it's almost to the point where I can leave the windows open at night. I love it. Now, sometimes, too, you might want to play some music in the mornings while you're getting ready. And, you know, I'm one of these people that I like to have music that kind of fits my mood, but also fits what I'm doing. I'm very much a classic rock person. There's quite a bit of heavy metal that I like. But when I'm doing certain things, like when I'm writing and editing and that sort of thing, I listen to jazz because for the most part, I don't know any words to most of them. There's some that I do. And if I'm writing, it's much better to listen to something without words. Otherwise, I mess up what I'm trying to write. So, you know, it makes a difference. Now, when I'm driving and the weather's bad, I like something calmer because driving in bad weather and listening to heavy metal is really not a good combination for me. Because then my nerves are on edge with the weather, and yeah, that's just that bad combination. So something calmer is going to calm me down, which with the bad weather, whether it's ice or heavy fog or whatever it is, it's going to help me to be in a better mind frame to deal with whatever's, you know, on the road. So whatever sort of music I would prefer, depending on what kind of morning it is and what kind of mood I'm in, depending on, you know, how I'm feeling, what kind of work I need to get done, how much pressure there is on whatever's going on. That could be a really good idea. All right, now this is interesting because I know a lot of people love coffee first thing in the morning. Got to have their coffee when they wake up. But this says something very interesting. It says before you caffeinate. Have you heard that before? So hydrate before you caffeinate, which would mean to me that you need to drink something before you have coffee. I would think water would probably be the best thing, but maybe juice. I don't know, but might want to think about that if you're a give me coffee first thing in the morning person. So, that's an interesting point, though. Let me see. And get some fresh air. All right. That sounds like a great idea first thing in the morning. Just walk outside and deep breathe and get in some good fresh air, as fresh as possible, depending on where you're at. But that sounds awesome. Okay, be creative. I love it. So see, if I start working first thing in the morning, I'm doing that right there. Let me see. Take care of a living thing. Interesting. Okay, see, Muse is on board with that. If he wasn't, okay, he's sleeping. Okay, but he's off for that one, I guarantee it. So if we have pets, we want to take care of our animals first thing in the morning. Food, water, make sure they have everything that they need. Take the dogs out, feed the cats, feed the dogs, make sure they have water, and especially those of us that are leaving the house for the day. Make sure our pets are taken care of. And I love this. Shouldn't have to be reminded of this, but it says to greet the ones we love. All right. Very good. And take care of your skin. Interesting. Okay. Sometimes that could just mean something as simple as putting some lotion on our skin before we go out. Well, and best before we get dressed, too. That would be especially important in the fall and the winter when it's colder, but it can be really important in the summertime, too, especially if we're going with bare feet. I know my skin gets really dry in the summertime, so that would be an important thing. And this is be thankful. We should add to that, too. Be thankful and be grateful. And then one of the suggestions is also to pray. And then to journal. So now I'm looking at this long list of things to do. And it looks like doing all of these things, you're probably going to want to just pick and choose which of these things would be best for you. And you may want to do some mornings and some other mornings, and some you could all actually do on your way to work or on break, or some as you're waking up. All kinds of cool things. But I will put this on the show page on the website. I like that. I like that very much. Now, let's also talk about a healthy lifestyle, because it's not just mornings. We want to think about, like I said, going into summer. Let's think about how we can maybe be, because it seems like maybe we're not as healthy in the wintertime, just because, there's something about wearing sweats and sweaters, and we just summer seems healthier. Maybe because we're out in the sunshine and all that kind of thing. So here's some tips. I can't give y'all 72 because she took down the webpage, but I can give you some. Top of the list is eat breakfast, and that not only gets us started healthy, but it should help us avoid overeating later on in the day. Okay? A good quality multivitamin each morning. Now, good quality, that is important. Okay? That's not going to be the cheapest one you find, and you should check. And don't just assume because you've heard the name of the company it's from, that makes it good quality. It doesn't necessarily. So you want to do some checking and make sure. You want to avoid refined sugar. And this is I first read this and I kind of flashed back to some friends of mine, but you may do the same thing when I tell you this. Now, think about the size of the plates and the bowls that you use when you eat. And especially, say, I don't know, ice cream. So, the suggestion is to use smaller plates and bowls in order to control the portions that you have. I thought about a couple that I've seen used, and I was laughing when I read that. But it does make a lot of sense. Because there's like some restaurants you go to, they use these huge plates, and it's wow. I've seen some of them, and they serve these huge portions, and it's just like me and 5 other people could eat off that plate. It's unbelievable. Whew. Now this is a cool tip. I like this. Stop eating when you're 80% full. I like that. That would save the whole being way, way too full. Because, sometimes you get to the point and you're like, oh, okay, there it is. Now I'm full. Or you're almost full, but you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to get some more. And it always seems like you get too much that way. So when you're just about full, just stop. That's good. That's a great idea. All right, and this is interesting. And I love this idea because it drives me nuts when you're eating with people and they're playing on their phones. Put the phones down. Okay. Limit distractions during mealtime, whether it's phones or TV or games or whatever. Just put them down. If you're having meals with other people, talk to them. But, sorry, that's just kind of a pet peeve of mine. Okay, another suggestion to get fresh air daily. Okay. Go to bed as early as you can. Not as late as you can. That's not what it said. It said go to bed as early as you can. Because we really do need sleep. It seems like more and more people think that we don't need sleep, but we do. The body needs rest to get ready for the next day. So we really do need sleep. And I know that I forget that sometimes, but we really do need sleep. And get enough sunshine. This is the time of year. That's why I'm doing this show now. Sunshine. We've got more and more of it now. And this is simple. Sit up straight. How many people actually do that though? Yeah, even with phones, the majority of people don't ever sit up straight. They're all leaning over their phones now. Just if you're out in public, just glance at the people sitting and look at them. They're all leaning over their phones. All right, how about walk more? Okay. How often do you do this next one? Take a few deep breaths daily. And boy, do I need to do that. Because my surgeon fusses at me to do that. Take a few deep breaths daily. Yep. Something we should all do. Now, I would recommend doing it where you're in a place with the freshest air possible. Just side note, if you're at the bus station and the buses are going by, I wouldn't do it then. I would pick the place where you do it, but just my suggestion. All right, now I've said the kind of music that I enjoy, but here's just a recommendation. Occasionally, listen to relaxing music. No, I'm not saying you got to listen to old fogey music. I'm not saying that. But I think you might be amazed at what it would do for your mind and your body to just listen to something relaxing. And I tell you, a kind of music that I really enjoy too is, and I forget what it's called on like Music Choice and all that, but there's like an atmospheric kind of music that is just like I said, it's just kind of atmosphere, and it's just so relaxing, and it's just I just like to have it on like in the background when I'm working, and it's relaxing. Like I said, it's not on folky music. It's background noise, sound, and music, and it just relaxes you. It's different, but it's relaxing, and it de-stresses you. That's why I started listening to it. But it works really well. It does. If you're interested, let me know, and I can dig around and I can try to find the right names for it. All right. There's suggestions to meditate and to do yoga. And there's often recommendations to do positive affirmations. And I've got some information about affirmations. I've got some an ebook about that. I need to get that together. But it's on. I had it and I was putting it together, and then the surgery came up, and that kind of derailed me. But I need to finish with that. All right. There's also the possibility of journaling, which I've talked about frequently. And one of there's either a mental health journal or a gratitude journal, or both. And actually, I've got some of those. I need to get one of those out too. So I'll see what I can do about that in the next month or so. Now, have you ever thought about the possibility of just saying thank you at any and every opportunity? You know, my guest last week and I were mentioning the fact of just saying, like, excuse me. That's something I know when I'm out in public, and especially at stores, drives me up the wall when somebody like just butts in front of me and gets something. And if I'm in a store, I mean, you can't go to a store without having to get in front of people occasionally. So I mean, I always say excuse me, and I mean I'll do that like half the time I'm in a store, I'm saying excuse me to somebody. You know, but I mean that's I don't go in front of people or get in front of people or whatever without saying excuse me, because that's what it's just what I do, you know. So and then when somebody will do something for me, I'll say thank you. Okay, so do you take the opportunity to say thank you at each opportunity when somebody does something? You know, it's amazing that even total strangers will usually acknowledge it when you say thank you to them. And total strangers, when you say thank you, they give you a really strange look often, and then say something, you know. But it's that's kind of like when you say hello to a complete stranger. They'll say hello and smile at them, and then they'll smile back. So it's interesting the impact you can have on other people by doing those little things. And I've even found that the whole, saying excuse me to people when I'm in a store or in whatever and actually, it's when I've had the same thing. Well, okay, when things were busier at the hospital and there were more people around, I had the same thing, and it's I've had them actually smile and say thank you to me for acknowledging them and that kind of thing. But not so much now that there's so many less people there, but it's interesting. Let me see. Okay, this is an interesting one. It says practice forgiveness and let go of anger. That is not the easiest thing to do by far, but it will make a major difference for you. And when we don't forgive somebody else and we stay angry at them, it's not hurting them. It's hurting us. And I know you probably don't believe me when I say that, but if you think about it, you'll realize it's true. It really, I mean, it's stressing us. It's making us upset. And, you know, like I said, it for the most part, it's just not hurting them. All right, now there's a suggestion, too, to use essential oils. I really like to do that. And there's a whole lot of cool things that you can do with essential oils, but I would highly recommend that you take the time to learn about them and that you make sure that you get quality essential oils, not the $1 or $2 ones at the dollar store. And there are some fantastic books out there about how to use them, what to use them for, which ones are good for which things, because you can do amazing things with them, but make sure that you learn how to use them. They're very, very beneficial when used properly. There you go. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, and practice self-love. Be good to yourself. You know, try to at least a couple times a day do something good for yourself. Even if it's just something small, do something good for yourself. And something I would really suggest is to avoid comparing yourself to other people. That can be very, very toxic. And I know a lot of us started that at one point because, I mean, other people in our family, and, you know, family could do it, friends could do it, people in our schools could have done it when we were kids, and so it sadly we can kind of automatically start doing it just because of that, but it is much healthier to stop that. Now I know that I will compare things I've done in the past, and I work hard to improve it. So I'll compare things I've done, and I'll compare what I did in, say, another project or another job, and I'll work to improve my record and my performance, and and that sort of thing. But because I want to improve, but comparing what I'm doing to another person, no. Because I mean that's like the proverbial comparing apples to oranges, and especially after the health issues, because it's just that would be completely unfair. So just comparing ourselves to other people is just, that's unfair on just too many levels. And one last thing is adopting relaxation techniques. And like I said, that relaxation music is a really, really good one. But find ways that you can relax. That can be, and I know it can be very difficult, and I've got one of these minds that I wish I had an on-off switch, but I don't. And I know a lot of us are like that. And it's very difficult sometimes to go to sleep. That's why I just love it after they put the new heart valve in, that I lay down, and as soon as my ear hits the pillow, I can actually hear my heartbeat. And it's very cool now, because I can actually hear the heartbeat, and it's so cool, because it kind of helps to relax me and helps to put me to sleep. So it's neat to have something that, and that's not enough to completely relax me sometimes, but a lot of times it really does help. But find a way to relax you. And you need to relax your mind and your body, and just shut all that stuff off. All this stuff that keeps you wound up and stressed and on edge and all that kind of stuff. I was just having this conversation with my brothers a few months ago. It's the kind of thing that we need to find ways to relax, because the body and the mind, and we need to relax. All right. So I hope that you found a few of those that would help you out. And I will share both of these memes on the show page. And that will be on www.lovecoachjourney.com/healthy lifestyle. All right. And it'll also be linked to readyforloveradio.com/healthy lifestyle. And if you've got questions about any of those, feel free to comment on either one of those posts. And I'll be with you next time on Ready for Love Radio.